Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Today is Wednesday, and all of our guests today are brought to you by our title sponsor. More on them later. Able Auctions and ableauctions.ca. Victor Montagliani, who's been on our show before, president of CONCACAF, former president of the Canadian Soccer Association from East Vancouver, SFU. He's been on our show before. He's going to join us in a second here. We found out this week that Canada is going to host 13 World Cup matches in 2026. 7 of those matches at BC Place, the other 6 in Toronto. And Victor joins us now. Victor, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Very well. What's your reaction? Our country, your city, hosting all those World Cup matches in 2026.
Yeah, we snatched. When it comes to our city, I think we snatched victory from the jaws of defeat a few years ago. But that'll be the title of the book, I think, one day. No, listen. I think. First as a Canadian, you have to be very proud that we have the World Cup. Second, obviously the amount of games that we have, I think we've maxed out on what we could have. And then obviously as a Vancouverite, or as you probably said, and as I probably say as an East Vancouverite, having 7 games, including 2 knockout games, and a potential of 4 Canadian games, 2 for sure. It probably doesn't get better than that. I don't think anybody, maybe other than me, would have dreamed about that.
I think this has to do with stadium size, but Victor, we're not used to this sort of thing. How the heck did Vancouver get more matches than Toronto? Yeah,
I know a guy that knows a guy. But all joking aside, I think Toronto's a great city. I was there on Thursday. They're really behind it. I think they deserve the opening match, to be honest with you, from a Canada perspective. And, to be honest, it's almost equal. There was only one game that Vancouver got more, which is around the 16. And that had to do a little bit with the size of the stadium, but really also with the match schedule itself, because as soon as Canada's coming west for their second game and they're staying here, it had to flow, as I said in other interviews. The flow really is not an east-west flow, it's a north-south flow. And so just naturally, you're going to have around the 16 coming to Canada. We're only going to get one. It was a natural one to have it come in the west, where Canada was going to play their last group stage game. And then, then you move down the East Coast from a Toronto perspective, and obviously from the West Coast from a Vancouver perspective. So it had to do with a few factors: match schedule, stadium size, and the way Canada was playing their number 2 and number 3 matches in Vancouver.
Hey, Victor, BC Place is going to need to go from artificial turf to natural gas. Any update, natural grass, any update, gas, any updates on when that process starts and finishes?
I don't know. You should ask BC Hydro.
Natural
Very
gas.
good.
Natural gas.
Sorry.
I have grass written. I have grass, Victor, written. But tell us, when's it starting? When's it starting, Victor?
Yeah, so it's not just BC Place. There's pretty much every stadium we have, especially in the U.S.
Okay.
Mexico, no. Even the ones that are grass, there's going to be a lot of improvements required to get it up to a World Cup level.
Right.
And BMO's going through the same process. That process, I'm not an engineer, but I believe that process will start late 25, early 26. It's quite a process. You have to lift the field. You got to put irrigation underneath. You got to put proper lighting, proper air circulation, because unlike what you see for friendlies when they just come in with pallets, that's already dead grass, and it's only it only lasts like a few days because they play one game. We are actually putting natural grass as if it was originally there from the beginning, because it's live. It's live, and you have to put it in months and months before. And then obviously there'll be a bit of testing on it. And then about a month before the first game, nothing. So, so that process will start late 25, early 26.
The big one also is tickets. When do they go on sale? There's going to be a lottery system. The price of tickets. Are you going to outprice everybody? Or can you give us an update on tickets?
Yeah, so with respect to tickets, I think you can already put your name onto FIFA.com that you're interested.
Right.
And it'll be a lottery system for the public, like every other World Cup, really.
Yep.
The demand will be obviously quite high. The good thing is we'll have more inventory for this World Cup than we had for Doha and for the 2018 World Cup. But it'll be a lottery system. And in terms of prices, we're not there yet. Obviously, there'll be some also depends on the venue, and group stage, knockout stage. So, but we're not even there yet on the pricing. But in terms of it will be a lottery system. So, which it's really the only way we can do it. I mean, in Qatar we had 3.5 million tickets available to the public, and we had over 14 million requests for 3.5 million tickets. And we think that we know, not think that the request for this North American World Cup will smash that 14 million.
Wow.
Victor, let's get back to BC Place for a second, if you don't mind. That hole in the roof isn't all that big. I'm sorry, I'm not a gardener or a landscaper. I know a thing or two about natural gas, but that's another story. How does the grass grow?
Yeah, listen. What happens is our engineering department really at FIFA, and we know that we can do it in an indoor stadium, not just an outdoor stadium or a stadium that is outdoor when you open the roof. So the technology is there, in terms of the lighting and the irrigation and hydroponic stuff, the legal hydroponic stuff, and so I think so I'm not concerned about it. We've done that even in other World Cups, to be honest with you. And so with the technology is there, so I'm not worried. I know the pitches will be in, grade A condition.
So what happens, and again, I'm asking questions, maybe some people will think they're dumb, but I don't know the answers to them. And that's why I'm asking them. So what happens to the grass afterwards? Does it get hauled out of there and they go back to artificial turf for the Lions and Whitecaps?
So so you want me to answer that as a FIFA guy or as a Vancouver guy?
Vancouver guy.
Whatever works best.
Yeah.
As a FIFA guy, we're done, and the field is left behind. And as a Vancouver guy, I would hope that the powers that be do everything they can to try to keep grass in there.
Right.
Yeah, I think everybody would agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Players especially.
Yeah, right. So, but that's not my call, and that's not our call. So, our responsibility from a FIFA tournament perspective ends when the final whistle goes for the last game on that pitch.
And what do you know, or from a FIFA point of view, maybe about other renovations that have to take place at BC Place, other than the field?
Yeah, there's some stuff. I mean, BC Place is in really good shape. So there's not a lot in terms of, but hospitality is the big one that they need to sort of upgrade a little bit. There's some sort of movement of how fans move from inside to outside the stadium. That needs to flow maybe a little bit better, so there'll be some work there. But above that, really, there's not much else.
Victor, off the subject, and I know you're president of CONCACAF right now, but we've heard a lot of negative stories regarding Soccer Canada. What kind of shape is that program in right now, and what's the relationship like with the national teams and Soccer Canada?
Yeah, listen, I don't know the nitty gritty. Obviously, as a Canadian, as a Vancouverite, and somebody that was the president of Canada Soccer up until 2017, and really proud of the work that the players have done and the groundwork that we laid. Listen, in the end, I think I like to take a step back, and it's easy for me to do that where I sit. But the country actually, if everybody could get around the table and figure this out, is actually in great shape. I mean, it's got 3 MLS teams with strong ownership groups. It's got a league finally that actually has done quite well in the first 5 years. There's hopefully a women's league that's around the corner and interest there. The national teams, obviously, we know have performed well on the pitch and have an opportunity to do that even more this summer. And so, to be honest with you, I think everybody needs to take a deep breath, stop listening to people that really don't care about our game. And to be honest with you, some of that is some of your peers really don't really care. They just want to I think we need to be focused, and the mentality has to be, we have to have a football first mentality or soccer first mentality in our sport and how we govern it. And really just get in the room, and this is a family squabble, and settle it and get on with it, because I think our fans, number one, our youth, number two, deserve it, and because I think our future is so bright with the players we have both on our women's team and our men's team. I think I think it'll get resolved, and I'm hoping to get resolved. But I really think it's time for a little bit of a deep breath and everybody to get in the room and start. There's no need really to discuss matters outside the family. And I mean, and maybe that's just my style, but I really think that's what needs to happen.
Victor, we could go on and on. We thank you so much for this. We really appreciate it. And we'll try to get you back on the show soon.
Anytime, guys. Cheers.
You bet.
Thanks.